Ron, this is Dwayne again. Can you hear me? Yeah. All right, great. Now I can ask you some questions. Okay, now you're saying that the computer just generates the capital letters, so that's what you use. And how long has that been going on? The 60s? Okay, so before that it never had capital letters then. I'm sorry, what? Oh, so you've entered all that data from then into the computer system. Oh, well, that's interesting. So now where did you learn this stuff from? Who taught you that? Yeah. Who gave you that information? Okay. Okay, so you were just educated by other members in your office there. Okay, so you guys never really looked into any official information, or it's just basically word of mouth from one person to the other that you got this information? Yeah. Now, as far as the birth certificate law, the Colorado Revised Statutes, I think it's 25-112, right? Okay. Well, it has the word conveyance there, you know, talking about a moving conveyance. Now, you're familiar with the word legalese, the legal language? Are you familiar with it? Okay. So to my understanding, the code or the statute is in legal language. Am I correct? Yeah, okay. So conveyance, when it says the word conveyance, it's actually talking about transfer of property from one owner to the other. Am I correct? Okay. Okay, and where did you learn that information? Is there an actual court case that says that, or because I don't? I guess now the problem I'm having is, when do you guys decide you're speaking legalese, and when do you guys decide that you're speaking English? Huh? Yeah, you know, I tried talking to attorneys, and they basically work for the city. They don't work for me. It's almost like I'm not part of the city. It's weird. I mean, it just doesn't sound right to me. Now, here's one thing, is that in 1933 we became bankrupt to the Federal Reserve, and what happened is they started doing the birth certificate thing. And if you look at the law as, you know, transferring property, you know, if you look at it in legalese, the word conveyance means transfer of property from one owner to the other, one person to the other. So that would mean that, you know, the birth certificate is a transfer of ownership from your parent to the state. Which, I mean, I mean, you can't dispute that, because, I mean, that could be possible, which I believe it is fact, but okay. So you know that United States is a corporation, correct? It's a government. Okay. So Title 28, Section 3002, Paragraph 15A, defines United States as federal corporation. as a federal corporation. So does that, and if you look in the legal term for corporation, I think it's a business. So what do you have to say about that? Do you have any knowledge or court case or anything concerning that? No? Okay, so one thing that I'm concerned with is that America is a corporation, and that in order for anybody to do business with the corporation, there has to be a contract involved, which I believe the birth certificate is a contract. I believe that it created a legal fiction, which is a capital letter name, and all of our lives we contract with this capital letter name, and we're accepting responsibility for the corporation that was created by the state, and that we generate income through that capital letter name because now we're under the jurisdiction of the corporation. We're under the power of the statutes and codes, and then that is how they are able, through contract, to have power over us. Have you ever heard that? Okay. Okay. So what is your stance? I mean, what, you disagree, so you must have some opposite knowledge. Do you have any knowledge that you could help me, maybe direct me into your way of thinking, or? Right. Right. So it didn't exist before that. For some reason, John Jay said that we were sovereign, that there was no one to govern us but ourselves. And now, for some reason, cops think that they have jurisdiction over everyone. And that started when America became bankrupt and became a corporation. And that was all starting around 1900s. We became bankrupt in 33. We ran out of gold. We ran out of assets. So the only thing that was generating any income was the people of the country, because that was the only way that we could continue borrowing from the Federal Reserve, because we ran out of gold and we ran out of everything. So we had to have something to give to the bankers for the continued borrowing. If we are borrowing from the Federal Reserve, which I'm sure we are, we're like $17 trillion in debt. Where do you think we're coming up with the collateral to pay these loans back? Okay, so do you disagree with the fact that we are paying back the borrowing of the government through the federal income tax? Yeah, and well, we never had that before 1900 though. That's the thing. Yeah, we've had taxes, but we've never been taxed on our labor until the time the birth certificate came around, until the time the Federal Reserve came around and all that. So for some reason, for some reason, now we're having to pay taxes, our country, on our labors. Do you know why we do that? Do you know what law says that? Okay, well, according to my understanding, Title 26 is the Internal Revenue Code, and Section 1 says that there is a tax imposed on taxable income. And then if you go to Section 63, it says definition of taxable income is gross income minus deductions. And then if you go to Section 61, it says that gross income is defined as all income from whatever source derived, which is the same wording in Amendment 16. that we shall be taxed on all income from whatever source derived. And then if you go to the indexes and the regulations of Section 61, it directs you to 861, Section 861, which is under Subchapter N, which is titled For Determining Sources of Income. Now, according to that subsection N, the only people that are held liable to pay the federal income tax are resident aliens doing business within the states and foreign corporations doing business within the states. So that would seem to think that we would not be liable, but then if you understand the argument of the capital letter name, which, you know, Black's Law Dictionary defines person as a legal fiction or a corporation. So that capital letter name is considered the person, and it's actually a corporation. And when we sign our name to those capital letters, we are a corporation doing business with another corporation. And so that is why we are held liable for the federal income taxes through this way of commerce, because United States is a corporation, and the only way that we can do business with them is through contract, because they're a corporation. So have you ever heard that before? Oh, you have heard that we are a corporation? Oh, okay. So you don't. So legal fiction, the definition of person, you don't agree that it's a corporation, like Black's Law says? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you do realize that legalese has different definitions for the same words that we use in English, right? Yeah. Yeah, I've actually looked at them. Well, I'm not, definitely not working for the state, which attorneys who work for the bar or, licensed by the bar or whatever, who are part of the state, I'm not part of that whatsoever, because, right, I'm not an attorney as you would look at an attorney. I would say that I'm learning the truth about, the laws and the way the country works, just like our forefathers, because when King George sent his men over to enforce his laws upon the colonies, the men came back and they said, we can't enforce your laws because they're all lawyers over there, because they were buying law books from England, and they were making a lot of money off the colonies. And that's basically why America, became free, because we understood law, we understood common law, we understood man-made laws, and how we don't have to consent to them, because that's the only way that the United States can enforce laws is through our ignorance, because they're codes. And we know what a code is. A code is simply language for the words used for privacy, for the purpose of secrecy. Because the simple fact is they don't want us to know that we're a corporation. They don't want us to know that we have a right to contract or not contract. And the income tax is voluntary because we voluntarily contract to agree to obey the laws when we contract. And one of the laws, being subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, which is a corporation, Amendment 14 says that any person born or naturalized and under the jurisdiction of the United States, which is a corporation, then we have to obey the laws of the corporation by contract. But other than that, we don't have to obey any laws because according to the founding of our country, we were sovereign. According to John Jay, 1793 court case, when he published that sovereignty devolved on the people, and they were the sovereigns with no one to govern them but themselves. And so now, since we contract through the driver's license, birth certificate, and all this, now we're entering into the jurisdiction of the corporation. And that didn't start until America became a corporation in 1871. And then that's when the 14th Amendment came around in around 1878 or 80 something, I don't know. And then shortly after that, then the bankers installed the Federal Reserve Act, and then we became bankrupt in 33 using their fiat currency, their fake currency. And then we had to have something for collateral. So now we generate income through our labors. And they use codes to trick us into, because it's all a trick. I mean, they won't tell you that you're a corporation. They won't tell you that they tell you that it's voluntary, but nobody knows how, because they still come after you with a club. But there's many people that have gotten out of paying because they understand the law, and that's what's happening is now that the Corporation of America is destroying our country, now people are waking up because they're tired of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you there, Ron? Do you understand anything that I'm saying, or? Okay. So where specifically in Colorado Revised Statute 25-112, or anywhere for that matter, says that we have to file that we have to fill out a birth certificate for our child? Does it say that anywhere in there? Okay, so does that mean it's saying that once there's a certificate that it has to be filed, to my understanding? Okay, so that means that once you get a birth certificate, that it has to be filed. That's all it's saying. It's not saying that you must fill out a birth certificate and it must be filed. It's just simply saying every certificate of birth must be filed. Okay, in what way? How do you reason that? Right. So does it say you have to fill out a birth certificate? Where does it say you have to fill out a birth certificate? It doesn't say that. Okay, well, where does it say that? I don't know where it says that. Right. It has to be filed, but it doesn't say that you have to fill it out. Am I correct, or am I lying? Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Am I right or wrong? Do you have to fill out the birth certificate? Okay, and where does it say that? No, it's saying that you have to file one. It doesn't say you have to fill it out. Am I correct? Well, that's right. So if I don't file it and there's no birth record, then it doesn't have to be filed. The child is simply born. And naturalized, if you look that up in the dictionary, it means someone from a foreign country. What's happening is we are born on the land, the law of the Constitution. And then when we are naturalized into the corporation, according to Amendment 14, then we become part of the corporation, the law of the sea, because it's a corporate law. It's the law, admiralty law. So it doesn't say that we have to fill out a birth certificate. Nowhere does it say that. It doesn't say that anyway. Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, then we have a right to privileges, right? We're not denied the right to have the great privileges of the United States corporation. I understand what you're saying, Ron. I really do appreciate your time. You've been very patient, and okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Until there's a revolution. Okay. Well, you know what, Ron, you know what happened? I was getting laid off from my third job in a row, and I was not able to make my rent because there was just no work. There's simply not enough money in the economy to support everybody to work. So I was forced to live on the street and try to figure out the system because I knew there was something wrong. And then I got scared because the cops are all over the place. They won't let you sleep here. They won't let you sleep there, which, I wouldn't have a problem, being homeless if I wasn't scared. And I had no reason to be scared because I was not at fault for being laid off from 3 jobs in a row. It was not my fault. And so here I am being threatened to trespassing because there's nowhere to sleep. Now, that's when I thought there was something wrong with our country. Now, I know you're saying we all got to work together, and I agree with that. But when you are stuck out in the street at no fault of your own, and then they want to throw you in jail for it, that's when I have the problem. And I think that anybody would agree with that. And, it doesn't matter if anybody agrees with me or not. I mean, there's a lot of people who feel the same way that I do. People spent years and years paying into 401ks, Social Security, to find out that the whole damn system's bankrupt, and the bankers have the people in power have squandered our money and our labors. So there's something definitely wrong with this country. And, our forefathers saw that in England, and, we're not going to be stupid, and we're going to figure the system out, and we're going to find out what the problem is. And the problem is that we're bankrupt. We're using fake money that gives the bankers control, and it's all through the capital letter name of your birth certificate. And even Mandel House said, have you ever heard that quote from Mandel House to Woodrow Wilson? Yeah, he said that soon everybody will have to register their biological property. And that happened right around that time, 1913, and it was true. But anyway, Ron, I appreciate your time. My phone's about ready to die over here, so. All right, well, I appreciate that, Ron. Thank you. Okay, Ron. Have a wonderful day. Okay, bye. Bye.